Hi, ladies. It's Johnny M here for Manspeak, and again it's Monday night, 8:30, which is always time for Manspeak Live. Just like to thank anybody who's actually joining me tonight on the Manspeak group. And what I'm going to cover on tonight's Manspeak is basically the mistakes on a first date. And the reason why I'm actually talking about this one tonight is I've been lucky enough to be able to write a blog for a website recently, and they asked me to write up the mistakes that have been made on the first date. So I found that a very interesting topic to talk about, and you can relate to it. I know when I wrote it, there was a couple that I could relate to about it myself. And we'll just run through them. So I've got a list of 10. So basically for the blog, I did 10 mistakes that can be done on a first date. And hopefully tonight, once you've heard the mistakes, it might give you a better insight. You know, if you have got a first date coming up, or you've had a first date and you're just thinking maybe it didn't go too well, and what did I miss, that these tips could actually help you. So the first one I'm going to talk about is talking about your ex on the date. And I feel that this does happen a fair bit on the date, and just to try avoid running through previous relationships and why you broke up with him and how. This can actually show your date that you're still not over your ex-partner because you're actually still talking about it. So that's probably the first one. The second one is getting easily distracted on a date. And things like playing with your mobile phone, checking for messages or social media, and taking calls. This could be a sign to your date that you are basically not interested in what they have to say, and that you're actually not enjoying the date either. The next one is not being honest with your online dating profile picture you meet on the first date. I suppose the reason why I have to giggle at this one is, I've spoken to a fair few ladies in regards to online dating, and this seems to be one that is definitely one that comes up a fair bit. And, if you are doing online dating, all I can say is you just want to be honest with what you're doing. And there's probably nothing worse than going on a date and your date looks completely different to your online picture. You might be putting a filter on it to make it look better, airbrushing, and things like that, which basically just suggests to your date that, you're not happy with who you are as a person, and, those insecurities can come out on the date. Next one is not giving the signs that you're interested. And basically with the signs you're not interested, it's like the chemistry between you and the other person. Most people decide that on a first date that if there is chemistry, that, it's not passing, you're not often given a chance on the second date. And yeah, a lot of women I've spoken to in the past have said if they don't feel that spark on the first date, they kind of dismiss a second date. And I've spoken to a fair few women too who kind of say, well, I'll give the second date a chance and see how we go. But again, that's probably a personal preference, that one. One again that's come up with ladies that I've spoken to is not reading the signals that your date is interested in you. And going on what I've spoken to ladies about previously is definitely this is a big one as well. And I think you just need to learn to read the signs of the man that you're going on a date with. And I know I've covered this one before on a video on Manspeak, but, things like the guys just like to give like a playful touch or eye signals. And, a guy basically, if he gives you those signals and you're not picking up on it, well, he's going to feel a bit disheartened during that. And basically you're giving him the signal that, you're not interested in that second date. And I suppose in the day he's not going to bring it up about booking in the second date, which I'll cover down the track in a minute as well. not planning your first date, next date, shall I say. And this is, when you're on that date, if you're interested in the intentions that you want to actually see your date again, it's a good idea to, be a bit playful on your date, and things like saying, gosh, I've known this coffee place, around my area. I'll take you there one day, or it could be something where you actually put yourself into a second date, and that will kind of give the signs to the man that you're interested in the second date. Running late for your date. This can definitely be a big no-no, and this shows that you haven't taken the date seriously, and it indicates that you have other priorities, which isn't the man that you're having a date with. If you're running late with your date as well, he's wondering if it was a good idea to meet up with you in the first place, and also this could start your date off on a bit of on a touchy note. Not building rapport on your phone before you meet up with them, and this is definitely one that I've spoken to some ladies recently about, and this is where women, they want to meet guys straight away, or they want to, they're talking to a couple of guys, and they're just that, and I'm going to say they're that desperate to get into a relationship that they've got to see the guy straight away. And it's very important to build that rapport with the man that you're going to see on the date, because if you've got no rapport, that date's going to be a very awkward date. There's going to be a lot of silences, and that awkward in between when you're talking to your date, and it doesn't really establish a good connection with your date. So, I've given lots of tips on online dating in my previous videos, but this one's a big one. I think that rapport building is definitely a big thing when it comes to online, if it comes to a date, if you're speaking to the man online. Talking about yourself too much. If you're talking about yourself too much on the date, this is actually not showing that you have interests in your date, and also that you're not creating any conversations around your date. And this is a subject that can come up as well, where you're not talking about the other day, not asking questions, you're very self-absorbed, and most likely your date will just want to get out of there pretty quick and fast if you're not engaged in conversations. And probably the last one we're going to cover tonight is overindulging on alcohol. This one here, I can say that is definitely going to be a good thing to do on a date. And this is showing your date that, you need to have alcohol to calm yourself down, or you feel nervous, or you got anxiety, or there's something there as well. And it's definitely going to paint a good picture, for your date, and it's going to be a bit of a turn off. And the chances of getting a second date drinking alcohol isn't going to be, the highest chance at all for that. So just a couple of tips that I can give you tonight about, talk about having that first date, and have a think about if you're still dating and you are struggling with getting on that second date. Maybe there's something in those tips that I've given you tonight that you could resonate with, and probably think maybe I've done that a bit too much. And I can definitely say myself in my dating experience that I've done those as well. So for me, it was a bit of an eye-opener as well. But again, as I say to all ladies on Manspeak, if you have any questions around anything that's been spoken about tonight and you haven't actually watched the video, again, don't be afraid to comment below, or just send me a private message, and I'll definitely be able to answer as much as I can about this topic, about the first date. And like I said, I was lucky enough to be able to write a blog about it, so it's definitely something that's happening out there with the first dates. So again, it's Johnny M here for Manspeak. Thanks again for joining me, and have a good night. Thanks, ladies. Bye.